heard her say that you will be a king without a crown.
Listening to a recording of a concert over and over again is like making love to a photograph of Marilyn Monroe.
People like you are killing classical music. Never settled for less than perfection. Never.
I remember him sitting on the side of the bed and telling me all these stories. I was 6, 7, maybe he was giving me a bath at 8 years old, and he was telling me about his Iași endeavors and then how he left for Berlin without a penny in his pocket.
While you live under this roof, you will do as I say.
So much emotion coming back, seeing the end of Ceausescu and everything else. He collapsed on stage in Munich. I think the call was bigger than anything. What we can do is probably try in our own ways to find this freedom that he defended all his life and the principle that were behind it, which is to dedicate yourself to an activity to your full capacity. In a way, I can hear him say, you know, as long as you give your maximum, that's all you can do. And somewhere I'm okay, and I realign myself with myself. But it takes quite a journey. Up to today, I think I'm still searching in a way, if I'm honest. At the same time, I had to do this film. I had to say, look, this is what we are. That's what we have, and that's what we want to share. And in between, I assume my decisions. Enjoy it, kill me for it, whatever it takes. I'm here. I'm used to the criticism. I'm used to be in his shadow. The paradox of looking for myself is that the films that I've made that actually went abroad were always directly or indirectly linked to him. And even if I didn't want to, they were justified. And I'm assuming to be the son of that extraordinary person. But I'm only the son, and that's my only, well, at the beginning, that's my only guilt.
There are two characters in this interview, you, Serge Ioan Celibidachi, and your father, the conductor, Sergiu Celibidache. When did you decide to change your name from Celibidache to Celibidachi?
I never changed it. He changed it. He is born Celibidachi. If you go to the grave in Iași,
really,
you will see Demosthenes is Celibidachi. So it's not even my name, but it was in the birth certificate, Celibidachi, because it comes from Greece, Celibidakis, K-I-S at the end, 300 years ago. And he left Romania with the I. They spell it as he arrived to the Hochschule or to the first, probably the first newspapers. And he never cared to change. And then he became that. And then the passports continued, the contracts continued. And now he's Celibidache, but he's the only Celibidache. The whole family, if you go back to Iași and you go to the grave, you will see Celibidachi.
Fantastic.
Not even like me, it's another one. So there's like 4 different spellings, which is quite a story in itself. But I never changed anything. I was born like this. My mother fought for the name to be what it was. And it actually created a little bit of an enigma, which is interesting in a way that today people don't even understand, but I'm quite amused by it. And it creates that distance that maybe I was in search for, that space that I needed.
But as a perfectionist as he was, he didn't feel the need to correct the name?
He never cared about what people would write. He would, the who's who, all those dictionaries and things they were sending him to do his biography. He always threw everything in the garbage. He hated to talk about himself. It was never about himself. This is what people don't understand, because he creates
It's a
such,
paradox.
you know, in a way he was fighting, but he was fighting for something else. He was fighting for making music. He was fighting for searching for the truth. He was not fighting to put himself on a pedestal. It became what it became because maybe what he was doing was of a high standard.
Trebuie să le spunem oamenilor că vorbiți și o limbă română foarte bună.
Mă descurc și eu cu greșelile de rigoare, dar da, așa.
With your father, what language did you speak?
It depended on the situation. Most of the time French in Paris, but if it was maybe a master class, it could have been in English because we were discussing things in English, or in German. It was okay.
We are at the Romanian Athenaeum, where he came back in 1978. And I remember there is a scene in the movie, The Yellow Tie, with the audition he made at the Berliner Philharmoniker. And he was asked, "And you, who are you, sir?" And he answered, "I am Romanian, sir." Is that for real?
Yeah, that was actually how it came about. He didn't want to sound arrogant or anything, but that scene is actually taken for real. That's what he answered. And
What do you think about this answer?
he was honest. And you know, at the end, perhaps it's a bit what the guy says, the professor says in the conservatory. There was a degree of arrogance in it, but he could sustain it.
I don't know if it's a myth or not, but it is said that Enescu's mother said to him that when you go to Vienna, should I tell them I'm a Romanian? And she said, be careful because they might be envious.
He always was proud of his roots, never negated them, never took another nationality, and felt very Romanian. And I think he missed Romania more than I ever understood. The day I understood it, this Dor de Țară, I think, was when we had the burial, the funeral, and my cousin Radu came, and he just was so shocked to see the country house to be such a Romanian entity. It was a copy of a Romanian house with the woods, the thatch roof, the ie on the little corner, and for me it wasn't our weekend house. I didn't really realize it until it was pointed out to me. Everywhere he went, he actually recreated a Romanian atmosphere and a Romanian world. So he didn't like to talk about it. He would not express what he missed or not. But in fact, I think he vibrated for the country. And I realized reading archives recently that he tried so much to come back in the communist time to help the musical situation and trying to start something of a big envergure. And it was never allowed, obviously, being maybe too free to talk and with a big mouth, maybe would have disturbed the party itself. But he wanted to participate and bring his own knowledge to Romania much earlier. And of course, when he came back, it was too late because he was 80 plus and there was not much left to do from his point of view.
Do you think he was loved? Because he was both, in a way, he was both loved and controversial.
Absolutely.
He was stirring up things with the way he spoke. With
absolutely controversial. And, you know, when you have such a position, I guess you also antagonize people and you bother, especially the establishment first. But speaking the truth, I think people would relate to it more. And it made him very free, which he was all the time, made him independent of money or any financial obligations, any political obligations. He was always talking his mind, speaking his mind. And I think that's something that even today is important to be able to do so. So even more today, it has its resonance. But he was both admired and hated by institutions and some people, of course, who don't like to be so categoric.
How about the Berliner Philharmoniker? He's still controversial. Is it true?
Yes, no, it is true. It's he bothered with the, seeing some weakness in the orchestra, refusing to do records did not help. Of course, someone came about with the exact opposite and a very commercial approach, and of course, it was an easy choice.
After so many years.
Yeah, but people don't have a memory for that. It's about, again, even in the arts, it's going to be about money, it's going to be about political influences, and that's the last thing that interested my father. So even if it was hurting himself, he would continue to tell you, that's how I see it. But that's not good for you, yes, but it's still how it is.
Let's get back to your childhood. What is one of your first memories as a child?
I remember him sitting on the side of the bed and telling me all these stories. I was 6, 7, maybe he was giving me a bath at 8 years old, and he was telling me about his Iași endeavors and then how he left for Berlin without a penny in his pocket. All these things, they stayed so vivid, When I understood that this was so special, around 11, 12, I started to note everything down because I thought, this is too good, it's a film before I can even put it together. It screams for a fantastic story, an odyssey from another world that needs to be seen, needs to be shared. So yeah, I remember those specific moments with him, very tender, very generous moments in the way he dedicated time to water the plants, and I hated it at the time. I had to water each plant, and he was telling me the story that this one needs so much because the sun is like this and whatnot. And I was like, oh my God, it's so painful. The garden is so big, we're never gonna finish. I need to go and I need to swim, I need to be with my friends. Now I miss that time so much.
Did you listen to music together?
With him, it was a case of going in and enjoy the concert. And discuss the concert eventually, but the CDs.
No music at home?
No, only me. And he was like, you're killing your ears, you're killing your spontaneity, what are you doing? You're a murderer.
But did he ever tell you, did he ever share with you the moment he realized he was born for this?
It's like action, reaction. Things start to, like an engrenage. You are going in your direction and you follow what you have inside you. So I think the call was bigger than anything. And he was very dear to his family. I mean, after the war, he helped everyone here. In communism, he was sending packages all the time. He was very aware of the situation. Yet, when he had to leave, he didn't think twice, he just left.
In those moments when making music, how was it for you in being in the hall?
It was just such a special experience. We were on tour. I had the privilege to accompany him a little bit towards the end when I was freer from school and I could actually manage my schedule myself. So I took, for example, some time to go to South America with him. And at the time, he was, for example, sleeping terribly. He had very, very short nights and was extraordinarily tired. So you would have a very old man walking towards the stage. You were almost thinking the concert cannot happen, or what is next? And then suddenly the first music, the first sound of music would appear. And then the 20-year-old guy would just wake up, and then he had all the energy in the world. This transformation was extraordinary. You would have that relation, this true intensity between him and the sound. And then repetition or the concert would close, experience in itself, and then the old man would leave again, like a 100-year-old man. And that sort of change, or that difference, if you will, really emphasized how much he lived for the music and how much he gave everything to that, and nothing else really mattered. And it was even clearer towards the end. He would read the score sometimes to refresh his memory before working on something, he would definitely read it at night to make it his again, and actually to detach himself from it when coming to the orchestra. He would not want to be the slave of the score. He would like to actually be able to listen to that as if it was a new sound that he never expected before. Like a child that first has this first impact with the first sound. This is to be as virgin as you can be towards that experience.
Hence, you mentioned that there is something interesting about this duality between conducting and composing. I feel in the movie, The Yellow Tie, in a way, you're suggesting that he would have maybe wished to be rather a composer than a conductor.
His real dream was to be a composer. And he left for Germany, sending his composition to Professor Thyssen. And he was so gifted in his movement and his relation to the sound that he took off, his career took off at the top, if you can imagine. He's at the Berlin Philharmonics, right, which is actually at the time probably the most important and the best orchestra in the world. And he's a young Romanian 32-year-old guy. And so his success is phenomenal. And then offers come from left and right, and he has no further time to compose. So the composition becomes second. And it kind of never stopped. And then I start, because he started to write in between and continue his writing, and I've asked him, you know, this, you said this suite, Has de Necaz, is finished. Why don't you do it? And he's like, it's not for me to do. It's not correct. I should not use my name and, you know, the notoriety of my name to push myself as a composer. So it's not for me to do. But I was like, but if you don't do it, who is going to do it? They're going to do it wrong. According to what you say, most of them are going to do it wrong. Yes, but it's not for me to do. So he couldn't put himself to do it. And that's another paradox. And of course, he left it aside and he said, well, to put everything in order, I need another life.
Did he ever make you cry?
Well, first, at the time, I had the pleasure to taste the belt when I was 6 years old, and I was doing all kinds of spoiled things. I remember in Lipari, you know, where we used to go on vacation, he took his belt out, and I got a real one on my popo, and I think I still remember today. But then he never did it again. All he did is the gesture, like you are answering, and then like he was about it. So there was this aspect of you know.
Coming from his father.
Very strict. Oh, his father was.
He used to beat him.
Probably, yeah.
Ah, probably. More. So you're.
I know more than that. It's not probably. It's actually for sure. They were even. They would take them. They would actually be slapped. And says, "What did I do?" Nothing yet, but it's for what's to come. That's how they were raised. For this kind of attitude. So it was super strict, super, almost terror-like. Mm-hmm. But it was much more common then. He was giving me all kinds of freedom. I could do anything, but there was like an exchange. You have to be correct at home, you have to be the best at school, and then you do what you want. So I heard the what you want part, and then I said, okay, so I'll give you my best. I said, you are an A student, so I don't accept a B. If you're a B student, I will not accept a C. You got to give your best of yourself, come, and if you're a B student, get a B, and good. But if you are just lazy or spending time on doing other things, then that's not okay. This is your contract with me.
Was it a pressure?
The pressure was at the origin, you know. The pressure was because of who he was, whether he liked it or not. I was playing the piano. I was enjoying jazz because he was a very good jazz player. I remember playing the piano at home and trying to my own little melodies, and he would come home or he would be in his study and me not being aware of it. And then suddenly he would come and say, oh, this is interesting, but why don't you go there? And then why don't you do this and that and that? And then he started playing my tune 10 times more interesting. And I was like, okay, I can't do this. So he, without wanting, he was creating a huge pressure. The expectations were high, but I accepted it again. But that puts me into a corner where I needed to find the key to get out of, if you will. Because otherwise I was going to be the faithful son who doesn't dare anything and who doesn't want to dirty the father's name, which kind of followed me for a very long time. I cannot deny that.
And what is the key? This movie, The Yellow Tie?
There's something to pay. Everybody has, there's always a balance, right? You're going to have this great opportunity or this extraordinary moment in your life, but you come from, I mean, there's always this balance. And so for me, I had all these wonderful opportunities, but it comes at a price. What is the price? The price is that you in it, you're really going to have to fight to define who you are. And I think I'm going to be searching until I pass away. It's never going to be a case of forgetting who my father was, understanding, respecting, loving him. You know, now I've come to terms with that. And probably the film is the step to assume myself and to say, you know what? I want to share a story with you guys. I want to do something that's. He would have said, no, don't do it. It's a waste of time. As he always says, you know, what are you doing? It's a paradox because I'm using some archives. And he didn't want to record. So what are you doing? You're doing exactly the opposite. Yeah, but this is a new reality. He's not there anymore. The first time I contradicted him is when we released the archives that existed around the world for us to have a souvenir of a piece of music. So it was not music as he intended, but because he didn't record, there were so many archives around. We decided with my mother to make it available because for me it was a wonderful gift to myself. And then whoever wanted to discover his melodies in the Beethoven fourth, but you go on and you discover perhaps more than a concert at the Ateneo, I don't know. But at least there is an opportunity for that. So here it's a bit the same in the sense that I went my way. I assumed my decisions. And you know what? It is what it is.
From the recordings, which one do you love best and why?
Wow,
Choose one.
I have to choose one. This is an impossible task. You know, everything, or no, there are so many different moments that brings you another melody, or the melody brings you to another moment. So I don't know. I'd probably go into Bruckner, even if it's very heavy and complex, because I've heard so much of it and I've entered in those symphonies so often. Probably the seventh of Bruckner, if I have to choose one.
I would have chosen the Bolero.
But okay, this is the for a divertissement, because it's very intense, but it's very visual and it's passionate and it's crazy. With the Bruckner, I'm going almost to the religious side of the thing. You know, there is a unity there and a grandeur that I relate to. Which fills me in the sense that makes me a more complete person. With the Bolero, it's I'm enjoying it, I'm with it, and I can only just watch this incredible performance. If you're referring to the one from Denmark, it's just amazing. It explodes the TV. Even the cameraman cannot fix he's coming out and in out of the. It's larger than life. But if I'm talking about something where I can actually find a certain unity with the universe, if I can express myself, I would pick a Bruckner and maybe the seventh.
Stimate maestre Celibidache, dumneavoastră sunteți un fanatic al perfecțiunii. Cum se face că nu simțiți nevoia de a eterniza rezultatul atât de prețios al acestei munci?
Simt grozavă nevoia să eternez, dar nu se poate. Cum să eternizezi?
Tehnica de înregistrare a ajuns nu la înaltă fidelitate, nu la identitate.
Dar din contra, s-a îndepărtat de 1000 de ori, e de mult mai prost decât era la omofonie. Ați creat valori complet noi, care nu există nici în muzică, nici în interferența sunetului, nici în combinațiuni străine. Apariții complet noi, care au deformat total textul inițial.
Dirijorul poate controla mașinile sunete.
Dar dirijorii sunt surzi, domnule, eu nu cunosc dirijor cu ureche. Sunt surzi, toți sunt surzi. Care e un om surd la muzică? Dar dacă spun eu așa lui Dumnezeu, crezând că eu sunt gelos sau eu vreau cariera lui, dar trebuie să înțelegi că sunetul, așa cum îl produceți dumneavoastră, are o calitate, dar nu are o calitate muzicală. Așa zis, un progres tehnic este o totală stâlcire a relațiilor reale între sunet și mișcare.
In 1978, when he came, he never talked to you about this coming back to Romania?
I know he was very emotional, and when he came back in 1990, right after the revolution, that was very emotional for him. And when he came back, he actually fell on the podium. So much emotion coming back, seeing the end of Ceausescu and everything else. He collapsed on stage in Munich from so much emotion that added up, and that was his second infarct. I think the third one, he didn't come back. But yeah, very emotional for him. Although he wouldn't show it, you see, he wouldn't extend on these things. He was very pudique. He was very, very discreet with his emotions, which people might say, wow, that's surprising because he was a big, big mouth and whatnot. But yeah, but when it came to him, again, this do de țară, all these things, he kept for himself. You had to read it through what he was doing, how he was always so engaged with the Romanian talent from New York, a Romanian talent, or the last concert with Dan Gregorio.
You've chosen Ben Schnatzer and John Malkovich to portray him in The Yellow Tie.
No agent of the Romanian secret police is my comrade.
I just wanted to see the new idol in the flesh. Mr. Celibidache, how would you like to perform back home?
One being the young Sergiu Celibidache, the other the older Sergiu Celibidache.
You're sending them the material, hoping they will react to it. You don't know if they know the name or they know the personality, but at the end it's about the script and the fact that it's interesting enough for them to throw themselves at it. I also knew that making it in Romania could be a problem, or maybe a question mark in terms of credibility. Can you make such a big film here, etc. And so we were counting on the film to be, or on the script to be of a certain degree of quality that would attract them. And that's what happened with John. And he reacted to that. He knew a little bit of my dad, not as much as of course, when he started to dig into the material. He's a very demanding actor and interesting personality in that sense. We knew we were dealing with the same perfectionism that my dad referred to, and that was fine. I wouldn't expect anything else from somebody like John Malkovich.
And it's a huge production, and the crew are all saying that they didn't believe
Nobody
it's
did.
possible.
Nobody believed it was. I didn't believe it was possible. And I think that's the axis that people will be surprised that it's less about the story of my father as such. It is a biopic. You're going to discover his life. You're going to bathe yourself in classical music. There's no other way. But the registre, the whole palette is actually very wide. Much more surprising than I think people expect, maybe, to be quite restricted, and it's not like that. But I still think the axis is between the familial breakup, which also confirms how much he misses his country as he grows older and he's away from it, and with the communism in between that he can't reunite. That makes it quite poignant.
I bought it for you on the day you were born. A tie for a future Prime Minister of Romania.
Won't be me, father.
But did he actually talk about his father? Never.
No, I was
Never.
very discreet about it.
Never.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was depicted as a very harsh... I caught a sad moment when he heard that he passed away. But it was very discreet, and he would not expand on it. But I remember him very sad and introverted and sort of close to himself. And I asked my mom, and he said, so yeah.
And the yellow tie is also a character.
It is a character.
It is, yes.
It's the rosebud of Citizen Kane at the end. It's his childhood is what he leaves behind, and what he's chasing back to find or not to find, how he does, and what happens. It's that hole he left back from his childhood and his adolescence, where the world was one and everybody was happy.
So in the end, it's a story about a child that actually lives his life just to hear that bravo from his father.
He left with that saying from Golda. He heard her say that you will be a king without a crown. And he kept on telling me all his life, he said, any doubt is a doubt of God. And he said, in that way, he was saying, you are not allowed to doubt. He was telling me, and I was like, how am I supposed to do that? It's like, you cannot doubt. If you doubt, it means you doubt the existence of God, because God is always next to you. But he said it with such a peace that it was not even to be questioned.
In Bernd Schnelzer, I know that you changed the actors.
Totroi ist Babine. That's my favorite saying.
How can you produce so much energy yet so much emotion?
I just let it evolve.
He worked very methodically and in depth for the passage that he had to do, to the extent that at the end, and when I told him, free yourself now, you know, it's like the bicycle, don't think of pedaling, just don't think of the movement anymore. All I want is that energy. The orchestra, I remember after the Egmont, with the ruins in Berlin, they were saying that he conducts better than the original. You know, he was so good at it that they were thrilled with the way he engaged, the way he actually connected with the orchestra.
And Sergiu Celibidache was dancing on stage. It was
and he started to dance too. Ben was dancing.
Would he have been happy with this movie, seeing it?
I don't know. Because it was on him, I think he would have hated it, at least the idea of it. He would have said, what are you doing again? You know, I can hear him from the garden.
Do you still miss him?
Oh, terribly. Terribly.
What do you miss the most?
Oh, everything. Everything. Yeah. Yeah. His generosity, his kindness, his dedication to the life of others, how he always took into consideration the problem of someone else, not his problem. He didn't have problems. You know, at the end, I had also to be near him, to look after him. It started to be the beginning of looking after a child, and not a child, but like someone who is getting weaker, and it becomes a huge responsibility. It becomes a huge worry. And it kind of left for me to start to exist. It was impossible. I would not have been impossible to make this movie. Impossible. I did the documentary, but he was the priority. He was everything. So I gave everything back that I could. So, in a way, my freedom is also linked to his departure.
You also look very much alike, I might say.
So they say. I don't think so. But yes, sometimes I can see something, but no.
But what do you see when you look in the mirror?
A triste, pale photocopy of a guy who was very special. But I've stopped comparing. I've stopped. It's fine.
Really?
Yeah. You know, what can I do? What can I do? Outside of making this film, outside of sharing a beautiful story that people say, oh, you are doing an homage to your father. Well, I'm doing anything but an homage. The fact that it becomes that, but this was not the intention. The intention was to share an amazing, different thing that nobody has an idea on, and that is one of the most fascinating stories that I've come across. If I don't do it, it will stay unknown, and it's a pity, because it's an inspirational story that can give us, I don't know, wings to be who we need and want to be. I really hope we can travel with it. And I really hope we can do something about, because this is my dearest dream. It's my most hidden one, but it's my dearest dream is that we change something about the image about Romania outside of Romania. I've suffered from it since I was a kid. And this, for me, is a fantastic opportunity to give a different flavor about Romania.
In those last days, did you actually talk?
No, we had a beautiful last exchange. It's bringing me something difficult to describe, but it's beautiful because so I came from Munich, delayed for his birthday, 84th birthday this summer. And I just finished the editing of the film. And I discovered in the film a transition that I was looking for that I could not find in all this. I had this, you know, you have all the film, the real film at the time, and I had bobine left and right and whatnot. It was a mess, but a very organized mess. And I could not find that transition, and I found it, and there was the film. So I come to my father and I said, I found the last piece of the film, it's untouchable. You can come from a studio, you can offer me as many millions as you want. I cannot cut 1/24th of this film. Not one image can go. This is the film. It's 2 hours, 17 minutes. And he looked at me, and for the first time in my life, I saw in his eyes that admiration that I was telling you about.
Let's end with a few words in Romanian for the Romanian public regarding the movie The Yellow Tie.
Nu știu, am nevoie de o întrebare aici.
Ce vor vedea românii care vor veni în cinematograf pentru Cravata Galbenă?
Cred că este un semn sau o mângâiere la inimă. Ne apropiem de un moment de adevărul unde poate ne regăsim în călătoria lui și nu că descoperim ceva despre Sergiu Celibidache, asta este clar, dar s-ar putea să descoperim ceva despre identitatea noastră, poate că depășim momentele astea greu, austeritatea asta, diviziunea politică actuală și ne reunim într-un sens de ce înseamnă să fii român și faptul că libertatea există și pentru noi și pentru toți, de fapt. Noțiunea de libertate. Asta este un exemplu fascinant de un om liber.
Premieră de gală la Sala Palatului, Cravata Galbenă, filmul despre viața uluitoare a lui Sergiu Celibidache, regizat de fiul marelui dirijor, este disponibil pentru marele public.
Atunci când o orchestră începe să cânte, ni se dezvăluie întreaga lume, spunea dirijorul Sergiu Celibidache, cel care a plecat din orașul roman, a ajuns în Germania pre-nazistă, a trecut prin război și a devenit unul dintre cei mai importanți dirijori ai lumii, totul pentru a își urma visul de a fi muzician.
I had to learn conducting several not super easy pieces of music, but mostly that's what I worked on. I'm not Celibidache, even though I play him, but the conducting is interesting and fun, but I like his story. I like the story of his life.